Welcome in. That's a tap, fresh off a huge pay-per-view 299 Miami. I'm CT with my guy DJ. We react to one of the biggest cards of the year, the early year. But man, I'm catching my breath, DJ. This one delivered for me. How are you feeling right now?
100%, man. Like, good to catch up straight off the card, straight, hot off all those finishes, man. Like UFC 299 Miami, it was a marquee card, big names. Kind of, uh, you know, built around that main event of Sean O'Malley. One coming into, trying to, unleash his star potential, but also, that first title defense. There was a lot going on in there, the storyline wise. But then around the main event, there were so many fights that were stacked. This was one of those fights, and we said from the get go, from as soon as the card starts, it's all good fights, and it was across throughout the card. We saw some entertaining fights, big names, big finishers. Main event was absolutely stacked and delivered, in my opinion. Um, I thought all five fights were a hit. I know there's a lot of chatter around the MVP Holland fight, which I can see. Okay, look, I think I went in with an open mind for that fight, and I thought like it was a 5 out of 5 for the main card in terms of what I expected and what I got. Even the prelims were great, man, and there were finishes all throughout. Yeah, I think you can hardly, there was any terrible fights in this card, so it was a pretty solid card. I know we're going to grade it at the end. We also had some good success with the picks. I know we'll talk about that. But yeah, actually, can we shuttle to the picks? Let's go to the picks just to sort of highlight the fact that we did get it right. So I think I'll wait for that. It's coming up. My man CT bringing it. There you go. All right. So, yeah, man, look, both of us had the main event locked in, and I thought that was a sure win. And it was the case. It was, there was no doubt about the winner. We had the core main, same thing. We were in the old dog, the experienced fighter in Dustin Poirier. Again, delivered. We both had JDM taking, winning over Burns. We got that right. MVP, man, like, and I said it. Look, he's coming in with the mindset of having to prove himself in this new organization. There's a lot of chatter about people crossing over, UFC being the premier organization. So he obviously would have come in with a chip on his shoulder. He performed really well. He didn't compromise on his style, which was great to see. Look, when we get to that fight, we'll talk about sort of some of the threats and dangers that he might, come across moving up the rankings in that killer division. But yeah, look, again, and then the main card starter Peter Yan. I think that was pretty solid as well because he's coming off a 3 fight skid, and he would have wanted to showcase and come back, get back on the win column, and he did that in great fashion. So, with that in mind, let's start from the top. Let's go to Sean O'Malley and Vera, the main event. What did you think? Obviously, we got 25 minutes of that fight. The first one ended unceremoniously with that injury, giving Marlon Vera a TKO win. What did you think? What did you think of the main event? Now that you've seen 25 minutes of Marlon Vera versus Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, man, DJ, we got our money's worth, I would say. As you said, 25 minutes, but not a lot surprised me. It went the way we all expected, which was Sean O'Malley is, the cleaner striker, uh, more well-rounded, I felt.
Yeah.
But I wasn't expecting Cheeto to be able to take as much damage as he
Yeah.
did. And credit to his heart and to keep coming forward. There was 5,000 Ecuadorian fans in the arena, according to Dana White, and you could hear
Yeah.
them. There was O'Malley chants, there was Cheeto chants as
Hmm.
well. But yeah, DJ, credit to O'Malley for his first defense.
Yeah. Yeah, man, 100% agree. I think it was the striking ability, the striking skill set of O'Malley was miles ahead. And we saw Marlon Vera was being reluctant at times to engage. He was going into his shell when he saw O'Malley advancing. Took some heavy shots. That knee was the most noteworthy of them all. I was surprised he was standing. I knew the durability of Marlon Vera, but I did not know that he was that durable. But man, he was wearing that damage in his face. You could see it. I think the fourth round was a really good round for Marlon Vera, although I did think he still lost that round. I thought it was a 5-0 shutout, in my opinion. And man, O'Malley was just confident. He kept walking forward. Great combinations, crisp striking, and he was a cleaner striker. And he was coming off effectively. I think anyone else would have probably got knocked out. There was a point where Vera even took a knee. There was so many instances where there were the punches landing flush, clean. I know, we probably want to go back and have a look at it again just to sort of understand what happened, because obviously right now we're watching it live. We're excited. You never know, right, with the fight, especially that fourth round when Vera came back. Came back strong. He started making the fight a little bit dirty, which is what he had to do. I felt like he had to wear a little bit of damage, take a couple of shots to get on the inside, because he let O'Malley work on the outside a lot, which cost him the fight. You can't, a long rangey fighter who's an extremely talented striker, you can't do that. And unfortunately, being tough is great. It's just not enough to, I guess, win a fight. Obviously, also not great in the long run. The amount of damage that you're wearing and taking on. But look, we've got to also say that the most noteworthy punch from Marlon Vera came at the very last second of the fight, which was that liver shot, which eventually floored O'Malley after the bell, though, where we saw he was seated, he was winded. But again, doesn't change the fact that it was a clean win for O'Malley. Now, we know that these guys are 1-1. Do you reckon we need to see the trilogy, or we will get that third fight?
That was a question posed in the press conference. Dana didn't really look too interested, nor did
Yeah,
O'Malley. Dana
yeah,
didn't rule it out, but O'Malley sort of probably said probably not to a Latin journalist. But for me, DJ, I would say I'm not really looking forward to one. But if one were to happen later after Cheeto were to win a couple more fights, then
yeah.
I could stomach it. But right now, yeah, I mean, like you said, man, Sean O'Malley just needs to be looking beyond, Cheeto, because it was a shutout, man, 50-45, basically. Did you agree with the
Yeah.
scoring?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I thought he won every round. I think one of the judges even gave it 10-8, which I could see. Like there was a few rounds. I think especially the early rounds, 1 and 2, uh, especially the second round. I think O'Malley was running away with it, where that knee landed, wobbled him. We the finish, the result was clear enough, and what we saw today, I don't think we want to see that again. Like, I know the first fight was a record as a win against Marlon Vera, but now seeing the second fight, I think we can all agree with Sean O'Malley. Maybe, apart if that not for that injury, maybe we may have seen that fight also go a different way. So I'm not clamoring for that fight. Look, we'll see how that goes. There's so many other contenders in that division that I'd like to see now challenge for the title, and look at that matchups against O'Malley, who I think has come into his own. And man, he looks great. I like to see him continue his title defense. I know he called out Ilya Topuria. I don't know, man. I'm not too big on that call out, especially because they're so early in their title reigns. Especially Topuria has not even had a defense yet. So I like to see them defend in their own divisions a little bit before we see these big matchups. You got to build that excitement for those matchups. So yeah, look, I'd like to see him fight Marab next. I'd like to see him fight Marab next, and I think um, Corey Sandhagen's also in there. He's called out Umar Nurmagomedov. Maybe they both fight for a title eliminator, while Merab and Sean O'Malley handle business. Because that's a tough matchup for Sean O'Malley, and it's a tough matchup for Merab as well. Because Merab does take a lot of shots. He leaves himself unguarded most of the time, and then with someone like Sean O'Malley, who's as clean a striker as he is, it's a dangerous place to be. And so there's a lot of excitement around that fight. So I feel they will make that fight. I hope the next fight for Sean O'Malley is Merab Dvalishvili.
Yeah, no concerns about O'Malley being someone trying to hold things up. He did
Yeah,
seem to welcome a Marab fight next, but it was more DJ towards the Topuria call. It was more him wanting to say that, hey, I want to be active in both
yeah,
divisions. So he did
yeah,
mention Connor's name, and that he acknowledges that he's a rising star, and he basically just wants to be, a chance to be champ v champ against Topuria
yeah,
and move up a class as well as be active in his division as well. But we'll see. Dana didn't really like the idea when asked, yeah, as
Okay,
well.
good,
So
good,
yeah, so
good.
yeah, he seemed to sort of subtly throw a little shot at Topuria, saying like, "What, this guy doesn't even want to fight." So um,
Yeah.
we'll wait and see, man. But yeah, agree. Now,
Well, he said Topuria doesn't want to fight.
yeah, he said like, I mean, he said Topuria's basically dragging his feet, like wanting to fight again, like he's, in a reasonable time, like he's dragging his
Okay.
feet, basically, is
Oh yeah, fair enough. Oh
what
yeah,
he's
that's okay.
saying. I
Fair
mean,
enough. Yeah.
yes,
No.
which we already heard. Topuria just wants to chill, like he's
Yeah.
not really welcoming in the next opponent very
Yeah. Yeah.
eagerly. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah,
No, fair enough.
and
Okay.
anything else before we move to the
Um.
co-main?
No, man. Good. Like, I mean, good performance. I think he got performance tonight, which indicates it's great performance. I agree. So yeah, man. Like, I wouldn't say great main event purely because of the lack of challenge thrown towards the champion. But yeah, look, a good performance by the champion, and he didn't take. I think going into that fourth round, his coach was saying, "Oh, look, we've got this in the bag. You can just chill, just touch up, and just evade and control threat." But he didn't. O'Malley just kept pressing and kept his foot on the pedal. So it was great to see. Yeah, man. And then Corey Main, that I man, a badass picture that we've got up. Dustin Poirier taking on BSD. Fuck, man, that was a good fight. That was for however long it lasted. It was good, and BSD wasn't giving up. He just was like, you know what, kill or be killed. I'll take your best shots and I'll come forward. And then Dustin was, the same. He's the veteran in there. He understood the game. He hung in there, and then he got the finish. And we've seen that with Dustin Poirier. Two things that we noticed, right? One is his resilience. He comes back always. It's not an easy task unless you get Dustin out early. He's going to be coming back. Other than that, could be fight. And the Oliveira fight, you got to say that, yeah. But in this one, we saw that you weathered through the damage, the storm. One thing I didn't get, and even the corner said it. Everyone was saying it. Why was he, whining for that guillotine so much? He kept jumping on it, and it kept costing him position. But look, it's probably something he's always done. Not in this fight. It's just been a style of Dustin Poirier. So yeah, look, either way, at the end, a definitive win, iconic win. Uh, we saw that it got a performance fight of the night. So yeah, man, I agree with that decision. It was a good win for Dustin. I don't think that gives him a title shot. Maybe one more fight against the top opposition before he gets into that picture, especially because Justin Gaethje hasn't still fought for the title. Oliveira hasn't either. So yeah.
Yeah, for me, DJ, this is what the fight and the finish that really elevated the card a lot. We really needed a really good finish or excitement
Yeah.
in one of these top co-main and mains.
Yeah.
Poirier was the underdog. I love to see the underdog prove the doubters wrong.
Yeah.
In the betting as well.
Yeah.
In terms of Saint-Denis, yeah, he didn't lose any stock for me. Like he was as advertised. Was that the same
Oh
for
man,
you?
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. He just came forward, no fear. I mean, look, you're fighting a legend of the sport. You're fighting a legend of that division, and while he showed that respect, he didn't show any fear. He just kept coming forward, and took some of Dustin's best shots as well, and had at times, Dustin in trouble too, like landed some clean shots from himself. But man, like I said, Dustin Poirier is a dog, man. Like it's very hard to bet against him. It's very hard to bet against him. So yeah, I still think, and I'm glad he's doing this run for the title again. I know it's been two unsuccessful attempts, but man, this guy deserves it, and I'd like to see him go at it one more time. And whatever the outcome is, it is what it is. But yeah,
Yep, 100%.
yeah,
Now we move to the third fight on the main. MVP Holland. Right, this is the fight that's getting a little bit of heat. How did you see it? MVP's first
yeah. Wait,
performance.
so I wasn't getting on social media at all throughout the entire main card. So I was just watching the card. I know I was chatting to you. I actually didn't mind the fight. I found it entertaining. I was entertained. I was curious to see how MVP matched up against the UFC talent. I mean, Holland, like I said, is no easy guy to go against, and I thought the matchup was very well picked for MVP, but also for Holland as well, because we've known that Holland always wanted to strike. It was surprising. I mean, that speaks to the skill set and talent of MVP. Is striking at him in all sorts of trouble because he's so very unorthodox, which made Holland start to clinch, right, and try go for takedowns. But Holland did get him down as well. Man, look, it was a good win. I actually liked the fight. I didn't mind it. It was a good win. But it does bring about that question. It's a what happens when you go up against some of the top of the division where you do have some really really nasty grapplers or wrestlers or well-rounded fighters. I mean, think of him against like a Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, even Gilbert Burns. I know he had a loss today, but Gilbert Burns is another guy. Yeah,
Yeah, for me, these were sort of two styles that clashed and
yeah,
sort of cancelled each other out, why
yeah,
we got a little bit of a dirty, sort of gritty matchup as well. But yeah,
yeah,
I'm still looking forward to see what MVP does next. And of course, yeah, Holland is going to continue to fight
yeah.
pretty big fights. Now, this one is also another fight that elevated the card, man. Jack Della Maddalena really answered the critics, but
Ooh.
in the nick of time, right? It was a close fight, man.
It was, man. Like I thought he secured the first round. Striking again, man. Like I mean, the difference in striking skill set was, especially going against a top tier guy like Gilbert Burns, who's known for his durability and toughness. The angles he was finding, we spoke about this in our preview. He was finding the right angles, crisp striking, throws combinations, not just one strike. Elusive, he's there, lands the punches, but he's not there for any return fire. Gilbert Burns understood straight away, he needs to take this fight to the ground to be able to be successful, which he was able to do in the second round quite efficiently, which gave him that round. So it was like 1-2, and then until that point, Della Maddalena got out of that lock. Or sorry, the he got out of being held down. He was losing that round, and then obviously times that knee, lands it to perfection. Everything else was just a formality. It was, speaks of the toughness of Gilbert Burns for him hanging in there. But man, geez, it was a crazy finish. It was my favorite fight of the whole card, to be honest. Yeah,
Yeah, agree. Two of my favorite fighters as well. But yeah, super
yeah.
hype for the call out. What did you think about Jack calling out
Oh,
shove cut?
all for it, man. All for it. Make it happen, Dana White, because that's just no one's calling out Shavkat, but it's a clear time. If he can get through Shavkat, that's the next title shot. I don't know if the UFC will make it because there's talks about them wanting to make him the next title challenger, potentially Shavkat. That is, he might get a Ian Gary next. I mean, Ian Gary's coming off of a win. Dallas coming off of a win, but also on the other side of it, you're not sure if they'd want to risk two of their biggest prospects, with one losing. So maybe they might manage that accordingly. But yeah, look, I'm all for it. I love that matchup. I'd like to see Shavkat versus Jack Della.
Yeah, he's well and truly in contention now in that division, man. Now to open the main card, Piotr Jan bounced back. How did you see this one?
Man, I wasn't surprised. I said it in my preview when I picked Peter Yan to win. I mean, he's not the caliber of fighter who's going to keep losing. He had to make that switch, and I think he did. Like we saw that championship caliber shown. Uh, Tough first round, and then comes out and sort of runs away with it and continuously put pause in the pressure. Man, his transition from striking to grappling and his setups are just another word. It's beautiful to watch. Man, he won. Like, I mean, I had no doubts when it went to the decision that if he's going to win. I knew it was Peter Yan. It was a very clear win for Peter Yan. So that is currently ranked number 4. That still keeps him in that top 5. And man, I'd like to see him rematch O'Malley at some point down the track. So yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I think that was a close enough fight. And I got to give you your props, DJ. 5 of 5, right? You'd be a very, very wealthy man if you put if you did your picks for this one. But this just shows, guys, we know, or DJ knows what he's talking about when we're doing our previews, right? you want to tune in to these picks.
Man, I appreciate the dub, but I mean it's a team effort, right? Like we talk a lot behind the scenes, so all that contributes towards this. So yeah, like it's actually a team effort. So yeah, man.
Yeah. Now to wrap up, what was the overall grade for this card? Right, it was given the hype, one of the deepest cards we've seen, and also some honourable mentions maybe in the prelims as well.
Yeah, Blades, great win. Michelle Pereira had a submission. Despain, the scary Cuban, got an 18-second KO. So yeah, it's a lot of honorable mentions too. So yeah, man, like score for the card. Whew, I enjoyed the card. Going into the card, we knew it's a stacked card. Um, what did I give the last card? 8.5, right? I think I gave
Yep.
8.5 for UFC
Yep.
298. I'm gonna go with 8.5 again. I think it was a solid card.
Yep. Right. Nice. For me, I think it's the same. 8.5. It can't go
Yeah,
high as a 9, but look, 8.5 is a really solid score.
yeah,
Yeah, the prelims were awesome. Like you said, the Cuban really opened my eyes.
yeah,
Curtis Blades, to get a stop
yeah,
on
yeah.
Gelton Almeida, that sets
Undefeated.
some
Yeah,
things up. Yeah, I really think he should
yeah,
run things back with Aspinall, who he
yeah,
who he did try to call out.
yeah. And I like that call out. Yeah,
Yep, that's it. Well, yeah, the year's going to kick on. We're going to get more info about UFC 300, the next big pay per view. But we'll be back next week to preview the fight night coming up and the rest of the big cards coming through. We did a big reaction on the knockout from Anthony Joshua on Francis Ngannou. That's got the whole world shook. DJ, any final thoughts?
no, man, we're blessed to be combat sport fans. We're getting treated.
Absolutely, guys. Yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Peace. Take care, everyone.